Chapter 9, Section 5. This section is called Completing the Square. So this is yet another way for you to solve a quadratic equation. So far we had the square root, we had graphing, and we had the property of zeros, and now this is completing the square. Completing the square is the process of changing an expression like this, x squared plus bx, into a perfect square trinomial by adding this. So you take something that's in the form of x squared plus bx, and you add this, b divided by 2 squared, to this, and then you are able to, then you have a perfect square trinomial. Let's show you what we mean. Okay, so we start off like this. We have x squared minus 16x, and we're wondering, what do we add right there to get this to be a perfect square trinomial? Okay, so remember, what we're going to add is, we're going to take see if I can get this working right. Okay, I'll just try it this way. We're going to take b divided by 2, and we're going to square it. So b in this case is negative 16. So negative 16 divided by 2 squared gives us negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 squared is 64. So now, if we add that, we have x squared minus 16x plus 64. And that's all they're asking for in this one, is what's the value of c such that that is a perfect square. So the value of c is c equals 64. Okay, let's try another one. Go ahead and try this one on your own. What is the value of c such that c is a perfect square trinomial? Go ahead and pause it. Okay, so we take b divided by 2, so we got 20 divided by 2, sorry, that's a 2, squared. 20 divided by 2 is 10, 10 squared is 100. So if we put this back in, so c would have to equal 100, and if we put it back in, it would be x squared plus 20x plus 100. Okay, so where does that get us? Okay, let's go back to this, or sorry, let's take this equation. So once we have that, how do we solve something like this? Okay, sorry about that, had just a little interruption. So how do we solve something like this? Well, right now what we would do is we would make a table, and we would say factors of 16 that add up to negative 14. The problem is there aren't any whole numbers in which that works. Okay, so you're not going to find any whole numbers in which that works. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that by completing the square. So the first thing that we do is we subtract 16 from both sides. When we subtract 16 from both sides, we are now in the form of x squared minus 14x equals negative 16. Okay? And now, since we're in this form of x squared minus or plus bx, we're in that form, we can go ahead and take b divided by 2, negative 14 divided by 2, squared. Negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. Negative 7 squared is 49. So what we have to do is add 49 back into this equation. But if we add it to the left side, we also have to add it to the right side. So if we add 49 there, we have to also add 49 over on this side. Once you have that, you have x squared minus 14x plus 49 equals 33. The whole point of this now, so you're going to see why have we been doing this, like why get that C part. This is a perfect square, and if you identify it right, this is a square, so this is a squared and this is b squared. In this case, a is x and b is 7. So we can write it as a, which in this case is x, minus b, which is 7, squared, equals 33. Now, we take the square root of both sides, and we get x minus 7 equals plus or minus what the square root of 33 was. And the square root of 33 is approximately 5.74. Okay. Once we have 5.74, now what we're doing is, or we're plus or minus 5.74, is we're going to take this x minus 7 and set it equal to the positive version, 5.74, and also set it equal to the negative version, which is negative 5.74, and solve each one of those. So if you take 5.74 and add 7 to both sides, you're going to get x equals 12.74. And if you take over here, add 7, negative 5.74 plus 7, you're going to get a value of x equals 1.26. And those are your solutions to this original equation up here. Either 12.74 or 1.26 are the solutions for this. Okay, so here we go. Give this one a shot on your own. Okay, the first thing I would do is add 52 to both sides. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. So again, the first thing I would try to do is take x squared minus 17x, and I would add 52 to both sides. And then go through the chart and figure out, can you factor it? And you can. So factors of 52 are negative 14 and negative 3. And if you have negative 14 and negative 3 and add them up, they equal negative 17. So in this case, you have x minus 3 and x minus 14 equals 0. Set each one of these equal to 0 and add 3. You get x equals 3. Set this one x minus 14 equal to 0 and add 14. You get x equals 14. So what we're saying here is don't go straight to this completing the square all the time. Make sure to check some of the previous ways first and see if those easier ways solve it for you. All right. There are a few more examples in the book about completing the square. Make sure you do those. Take a look back. If you want to see these again, go back and rewatch the video, and that will hopefully help you out.